Marika Zadraka, Strategic Financial Planning Unit Lead at Eiropas Dzelzceļa. Marika is today replacing Jānis Naglis, who was supposed to give the presentation, but for personal reasons couldn't join. So Marika will cover Rail Baltica progress in Latvia and also speak about the procurement possibilities. Feel free to ask, as before, questions using the Slido platform. So once again, either you scan the QR code or you go to slido.com and type in the code that you see on the slide. So Marika, floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Signe. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear Rail Baltica friends. My name is Marika Zadraka. I'm the Strategic Financial Planning Lead at EDSL, National Implementing Body in Latvia. Today, I guide you through the progress and ongoing activities in Latvia. So phase one, as you see in the slide, envisages cross-border connection from southern border from Lithuania to northern border to Estonia, in total length of 202 kilometers. It also foresees completion of 2 international stations in Riga, the south part of Riga Central Station and station at the Riga Airport. The phase one foresees 2 international station connectivity via 15-20 millimeter gauge railway. As concerns the regional connectivity, freight connectivity, and the freight loading, uploading locations for military mobility, decisions will follow. So next slide. Active works are ongoing both in Riga and outside Riga. I'll tell you more about the mainline construction works. So mainline construction works are done by our contractor ERB. The contract was signed in the late 2023, and the contract is designed to cover almost all mainline sections, mostly all building permits for phase one. And so geographically, the main line is divided in 3 sections, design section 4, 2, and 3. And the construction begins on the southern section. So it's starting from Lithuania-Latvia border, 45-kilometer long section. And the construction is underway in 30-kilometer stretch. So the foundation works and railway embankment construction in various stages. So the construction coordination base is already completed. It serves as the coordination during the coordination base during construction, the planning of material delivery, logistics, etc. So yeah, thanks. So the deforestation works and scanning of unexploded ordnance completed on the 11-kilometer section, and deforestation continues in the territory of the design section 4. So also the technical design optimization is on the way to save some capex in the phase 1, and through the TEF funding, the more than 600 million is secured. So we are waiting for the next MFF in order to understand the next the speed of implementation next phases. And in design section 3, which is close mainline to Estonia, the design is ongoing and land acquisition also ongoing. So next slide. Yes, so Riga Central Station, so the active final construction works on the southern side of the station building is ongoing. So we have secured the financing from our FN Latvian state budget. The project itself ends end of August. So the safe passenger service to be secured by the end of 2028. Also, 15-20 tracks installed as a temporary solution, also to provide the connectivity to Riga Airport Station, envisaged by the end of 2029. So the next slide on Riga Airport Station. So the works are also actively ongoing and continuing to The installation of core and weather-resistant steel beams are completed, which is a unique engineering structures for Latvia. So also the project implementation work continues with the financing of the cohesion fund and the Latvian state budget financing in order to continue construction works towards Riga Central Station. So by December 31, 2029, the completion of station building and related infrastructure envisaged, and to provide this connectivity to Riga Central Station. Okay, the next slide. No, that's the first slide. I think there was one on the procurements. Oh yeah, this is the one. So in Latvia, as I mentioned before, we have a construction contract covering the most of the main line. So also the engineering services already contracted. So no big procurements envisaged in the nearest future. So what is the pipeline? That is the Riga Central Station engineering consultant procurement to continue works in the Riga Central Station project and to provide engineering and supervision services. So the procurement is to be launched in the second quarter of 2026 with the aim to start service in January 2027. And after me, our contractors representative will tell you more about how they engaged suppliers and subcontractors already in project implementation in Latvia, as they are already organizing this platform, which Derek will tell you more about it. Yes, that's shortly it. And I will be happy to answer to your questions.
Yes, thank you, Marika. While we are waiting for more questions, I think there are more, but the first one, which came in quite quickly, was related to the deadline and implementation speed of the works in Latvia. So is the deadline for completing the first phase in 2030 realistic if Latvia plans to start work in brackets superstructure only in 2030? So maybe you can answer this.
From the, I mean, I can answer from implementing body side, but the financing is not available for superstructures yet. So it's very difficult to guess how works will speed up. Of course, we are really expecting the next MFF to help in implementation of the project in Latvia. So at this stage, it's very difficult to predict. However, we have our contractor covered. The contract is covering mostly most of the main line, almost most of the main line. So the contract is designed in order to activate building permits. So in that sense, we are very flexible to continue or speed up the implementation.
Thank you. I don't think there's any questions that we can address at the moment, but maybe if you could stay on and then we will follow up. No, wait, there's one more question. What are the plans of EZL to proceed with construction on DS2 section?
On DS2 section, 2 building permits are the financing for 2 building permits in DS2 section are secured under this CEF period. And so we will continue. As you know, all the DS4 section is covered, so we are, of course, moving up towards north. And then the next section is DS2.
All right. Thank you. Please stay on. We'll follow up with more questions if there are. So I'm very happy to now, as you already pre-introduced, to introduce Derek John Clulow, Rail Supplier and Subcontractor Procurement Director of ERB Rail, a Latvian mainline constructor.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So good afternoon to all of you. As previously pointed out, I'm the Procurement Director for ERB Rail JV in Latvia. I've been with the joint venture since July, so I'm coming up to my 10th month with ERB Rail. If you go to the next slide. So I think my focus today on the presentation is supply engagement, and I'm hoping after we finish the several slides, you'll have a better understanding on how to engage with my organisation in ERB Rail. So, how will ERB Rail engage with the supply chain? Well, the first steps are, prior to November 2025, we would normally do, market engagement, market research, investigate referrals, and consider suppliers pre-qualified within the low day sourcing platform. We've got some slight changes to how we operate as of November last year. So the preferred approach to engage with the Latvia, with all supply chains, I mean, in particular Latvian supply chain, is via an e-procurement platform based in Riga in Latvia. So we always intend to launch what's called an information notice or a call for competition using the e-procurement platform, and we always supplement responses with market research, referrals, and with suppliers, subcontractors previously registered on low days. So, and in addition to that, we reassure the supply chain we will respond to general inquiries via the email, which is published on the ERB Rail website. So, but we do strongly recommend that interested parties do pre-register on low day sourcing. Next slide, please. So a little bit more about the, I have to excuse my pronunciation, so I will call it e-procurement. So the approach since November is to make sure we do publish a call for competition for the major packages. We tend to tender an award within ERB Rail. So ERB will engage the Latvian supply chain and other supply chains by publishing an information notice on the e-procurement portal. And that approach provides a long list of potential bidders. So it works well. It's a good platform, and and the recent notices we've published over the last 6 months have been for supplier site vehicles, which is estimated to be around about €500,000. We have published the supplier steel reinforcement bar, approximately 10 million, and we've got the supply precast concrete elements for the structures, which is valued at approximately 11 million. And we're also exploring opportunities for the supply operator construction plant, which we believe to be circa 5 million. And we also have a multitude of smaller packages that we will advertise, such as small plant and tools. We do have a number of pending publications in the next month. So we do have the supplier structural bearings, which is worth about €3 million on DS4, and we're also looking at the supplier drainage materials, line side drainage, which is excluding concrete pipes, but we believe that to be worth to the market between approximately about €4.4 million. And I would say that to date, we've probably awarded 30% of the contracts, whether it's subcontracts, professional services, or materials contracts, but we've got plenty of more work in the pipeline. So the main packages, which I'm going to be focused on in 2026, include structures works, which is predominantly the superstructure, and there's probably around about €60 million worth of opportunities wrapped up in the structures works. We also have the mainline embankment works. We have installation line side drainage. We previously covered the supply drainage materials. Associated with the structures works, we have the supply structural bearings and expansion joints, and we're looking to bring forward the supply installation of line side fencing where appropriate, and we also have geotechnical implementation, instrumentation and monitoring, installation of sheet piles, supply of rebar, and again, as previously discussed, we're looking at framework arrangements of small plant and tools. And this is just a selection and just a flavour of some of the opportunities we've got that we will probably publish in 2026. Next slide, please. So I must caveat that, we encourage you to pre-register on low days. We encourage you to register with e-procurement in Latvia, but it's not a guarantee that you will end up on the final tender list. So we do go through a pre-qualification of bidders. So, through the market engagement, through publishing calls for competition on various platforms, we generate what's called a long list of suppliers. And we approach them, we invite them to sign and submit a formal expression of interest. But I must point out, only suppliers who have submitted an EOI are then appraised to derive what I call a short list of final bidders for the tender. And the focus for the expression of interest in the pre-qualification is the financial strength for the company, its technical experience, its equipment and resources. We always expect, several case studies. And sometimes at the pre-qualification stage, we do supplement the pre-qualification with factory audits. But more often than not, they're normally carried out, during the evaluation stage. So typically for any tender, we would like to carry forward 5-6 bidders to the competition stage at very minimum. And I just must point out that, we will not engage with supply chain on a single source basis. So the default position will always be competition. It's always competition. Unless we have a strong business case to do otherwise. Next slide, please. And it's just a couple of statistics, which, some of these figures are a little bit out of date and exclude the framework. So to date, we've, in terms of subcontracts, supply contracts, and professional service contract, we've awarded over 65 million, but that excludes the framework awards. So the total awards to date are closer to 140, 150 million euros. But what I am pleased to announce is that 95% of our awards are foreign competition, and also 89% of our awards are to Latvian registered suppliers. So I think that's quite a good achievement for the procurement team within ERB Rail. So so it's all about the competition, but where we must improve is making sure that we do reach out to the Latvian supply chain and other supply chains within the Baltic regions before we go any further. And that's one of my objectives going forward. And that's the last slide from me, so I'm happy to take some questions.
Thank you very much, Derek. I think at the moment I don't see any specific questions. If you could stay on for some minutes, we will follow up.